Tonight on Joy News Prime, GetFund administrator blames Auditor General for what he says are errors and misrepresentations in the list of beneficiaries of his scholarships, accusing him of failing to do due diligence.
And your list,
yeah, it was part of
the files, the documents,
because they had applied.
But Sankomi a due diligence, and Komba said there was no financial implication. Yen committee financially to them.
Protest in Volta region town of Sogakope over recent robberies turns bloody. In business,
customers of the fund management companies unlikely to receive their locked-up funds anytime soon as the Registrar General awaits court order to begin payment process.
As long as I haven't gotten the order to liquidate them, who is going to pay them? I have to pay them. So I'd advise that they do not put too much of be litigious in the courts.
Vice President Mahmoud Baumia is advocating a real look at the practice of handshakes in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak.
Nananum and our traditional leaders, we will have to maybe start thinking of even how frequently we shake hands with each other across the country.
I'm Mr. Lai. Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio at Kokomlimli here in Accra with digital address GA09925339, where we're celebrating 25 years of fearless journalism. Stay tuned in. A protest by residents of Sogakope in the Southern district of the Volta region turned bloody Monday when 3 of the protesters were struck by stray bullets. The residents are taking to the streets in protest of the Volta regional minister's refusal to meet them over recent robberies in the Southern district. They blocked the Sogakope-Accra highway for the second time in 2 days and burned ties to register their displeasure. It took a joint military police team to control and scare away the protesters to restore calm. Let's get onto the phone lines now and speak with my colleague Fred Kwame, who has been following developments in the area. Now, we also have on the line the Volta Region Police PRO, but let's get to Fred Kwame Asare first. Fred, what's the mood in the community now?
Israel, come again with the question.
What's the mood in the community after the protests and the injuries when the protesters were fired on?
As we speak, there is calm in Sogakope. The military and the police have been able to calm the situation down, and everybody is going about their normal duties. The road mount that was placed in the morning or in the early hours of today has been taken off. So as we speak, there's free flow of traffic on the Accra Sogakope highway, and then there's calm in Sogakope. Now,
remind us again, Fred, what are the protesters going on all about?
Okay, Israel. Yesterday, a mobile money vendor and also an assembly member for the Sogakope South electoral area was shot and killed at his residence by some unknown gunmen. About 8 of them besieged his house in the early hours of Sunday, broke into his room, and then took out a safe which is believed to contain some money, and then made away with the money. In this operation, residents told me that it took the robbers about 45 minutes to an hour for them to break into the house and then do whatever they want to do. But then whilst they were there, they tried making calls or placing distress calls to the police to call them to come to the crime scene and then combat these people to prevent them from killing the assembly member and then making away with the unknown amount of money. But then all calls proved futile. They told me that they called and called and called, but then the police did not answer their call. And then as a result, the member was shot and then he died. And then the wife also sustained some injuries. The kid, I am told, also sustained some injuries and had to be operated on for some bullet casings to be taken out of her head. So this action actually got the residents infuriated. Also, before this robbery incident, there had been other ones, about 5, where in such situations they called the police to come in, and police refused to come in. And then after the robbers have done whatever they want to do and left, then they would come to the scene and then be shooting into the air. So this actually got the residents angry. So they took to the streets yesterday to protect their anger. But then it took the intervention of opinion leaders to calm the situation down. So this morning, the regional minister was scheduled to come and visit the area and then speak to the youth. But then when he got to Sogakope, apparently he went to the the DCE's house first to at least have a first-hand information on what went on Sunday before meeting the youth. But then the youth didn't take this lightly. They think the minister has dodged them or swerved them. So they again took to the streets this morning. This time around, they did not only block the roads, but then they bent ties.
Okay.
And then in the process, they had to call in the military to come and disperse them off. But then while some of the residents were at the Sogakope Bridge, where they mounted the unauthorized roadblock and then were burning ties, others were also at the police station, tossing stones at the officers at the station. So in an attempt to disperse them off, there were warning shots, and then unfortunately 3 of the residents were hit by bullets.
What's the situation of the protesters who were struck by the bullets?
Their condition is okay at the moment as we speak. 2 of them are receiving treatment at the Sogakope District Hospital, while is at Komboni. 2 of them, I'm told, were not part of the protesters. One who was shot in the leg explained that he was just riding by the police station before the warning shot was fired. So unfortunately, he was hit in the leg. Another who was shot in the arm was also just returning from a betting center where he went to place bet on some matches before he was hit by the bullet. But then the third person, I can't confirm if he was part of the protesters. But the 2 people, information I have is that 2 of them are not part of the protesters.
Right. All right. Thank you very much, Fred Kwame Asare, for bringing us that comprehensive update. Also on the line, we have the Volta Region Police PRO, Corporal Prince Dogbache. Thank you for making time, Corporal. Now, what is the police's side of the story? We understand that 3 of the protesters were injured after they were struck by stray bullets. What do you have to say about that? Hello, if you can hear me, Corporal Prince Dogbache. I'm asking what the police has to say about the incident today, the protest today, in which the 3 of the protesters were struck by stray bullets.
Right. Good evening, and thank you for having me.
And thank you, too, for making time.
Right. If you ask me the position of the police on the injury of 3 persons, I will say that is so. It is correct.
All right. So how did that come about?
Well, that came about as a result of the desire to ensure that the police station was not eventually overcome by the teeming youth who were embarking on misbehavior. There were petrol bombs, there were stones, all manner of missiles. In fact, almost all our vehicles were damaged, including some vehicles belonging to other individuals which are involved in some form of crime or the other.
All right.
So in the course of the youth attempting to go further to attack the officers, this situation occurred.
Were any arrests made at all?
Well, for now, no arrests have been made.
Do you intend to pursue any of the protesters?
I didn't get that.
Do you intend to pursue any of the protesters?
Well,
I mean, as far as the damage to your vehicles and the vandalism to your vehicles are concerned.
That is a possibility in the future. For now, our focus is to be able to get to the bottom of the main issue, that is the killing of the assembly member for Sogakope South. All right.
How far have you gone with that? Any progress made?
We are on course. We are on course. The whole of today, the case has been taken over by the regional CID. And so a team of investigators from the headquarters, together with the crime scene team, are still on the ground. And so we are certain that in due time, we are going to be able to get those who are behind it. But we make one appeal that the youth must understand one thing, that crime fighting is a shared responsibility. We need their support. Our legitimacy is not to question. And so they must come down and collaborate with the efforts of the police in order that we unravel whoever is behind this heinous crime.
But then at the heart of it all is the people feeling insecure. What is also being done about that?
Yes, if you monitored our earlier submission, I indicated that yesterday the Deputy Regional Commander was there. I was with him, and we engaged the youth. In fact, he assured the youth of the commitment of the command to address all the concerns that they have. Indeed, that was the more reason why they had to retire to their homes yesterday.
All right.
So if today they came back into the streets and to visit this kind of misbehavior, I think it is not acceptable. So we are only urging them. They have some identified leaders. We are urging those leaders to call on their followers to, calm down. We are on the ground. The security of the people of Sogakope, as well as every other member of this country, is the mandate of the police to do. So we only expect that they will give us their support, and we will to champion the cause of security for everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Corporal Prince Dogbache, who's the Volta Region Police PR. We're staying with the police, which is on a manhunt for the suspect, suspected killer of Officer Sergeant Moses Appiah of the Medina MTTD. The driver, after running over the officer, abandoned the vehicle and ran into a nearby bush, leaving the police officer to die. My colleague Latif Idris spoke with an eyewitness who narrates the ordeal late Sergeant Appiah went through in the final moments before his painful death.
This car was chasing a trot driver. So he crossed the car, the trot driver here, and the driver, the one who just passed away, he get down. So he was trying to open the front door. And quickly, the trot driver put reverse. And that movement, the policeman was standing in front of the car. And he hit.
So when he moved reverse,
yeah,
the officer came in front of the vehicle.
Yeah, and from that place he just hit, and the car is the under is very is down. So he hit him there, and he pulled him from here.
So pull him from here. I want you to walk from here to exactly where the dragging of this late sergeant ended. So you said it started from here.
So after he pulled him from the ground, he joined the road from here.
So he pulled him from here and then got onto the main road.
This is the where from that side to this side.
So this is blood.
Yes.
So it's ended right here.
Yes.
So this blood we suspect came from late Sergeant Moses Appiah.
Exactly.
So when it ended right here, what then did you do?
And so the other colleague, the policeman, he don't know how to drive. So my colleague, Uber driver, have to take the police car, and we put the Sergeant Appiah inside the vehicle, and we send it to the 37 police officer.
Dr. Justice Tankebe is a criminologist. He is with Cambridge University, and he joins us via Skype for us to discuss these incidents. It's just been another incident of a policeman being attacked. This is just one of the incidents that happened over the weekend. In the other incident, we had a policeman having to lie on the bonnet of a moving taxi because in an attempt to stop the taxi, to arrest the taxi. And we'll get to share, okay, that's the video where you find the policeman lying on top of the bonnet. That policeman is safe, but the police is concerned there have been an increasing number of attacks involving the police on the police. Now, Dr. Justice Tankebe, this isn't the first time thank you very much for making time to speak with us, but this isn't the first time we're having to speak about police officers coming under attack. What exactly, or why exactly are we not being able to get to deal with these things? And for the public to know that you can't attack the police?
Thank you very much for having me. As is rightly said, this is not the first time you and I are having a discussion about this. I think the last incident was in, was it Ashaiman also?
There was the Kaswa incident.
Kaswa incident, okay, yeah. Look, I think when it comes to the safety of officers, the issues there are a complex mixture of things. So we can look at some situational factors. So the very immediate scene, what was the nature of the interaction? What is it that triggered that incident? What could an officer have done differently, right? And then we can think about institutional factors. And in the two cases that you're talking about, those situational institutional factors would appear to be linked. So you remember last year when we had a discussion, one of the things we highlighted was how officers understood and used their discretionary authority. Okay, so is there a way in some instances to decide non-enforcement, right? With the hope that you could find another mechanism of tracking these suspects rather than on your own attending to a scene, trying to arrest individuals. So you can see in that sense, the fault might not just be with an individual officer who has failed to exercise his discretion appropriately, but it might also be that there's lack of that institutional support, right? Resources to allow the officer to achieve the same objective without having to immediately enforce.
And having to endanger the policeman's life. So I'll be speaking.
Absolutely.
Fortunately for us, we've been joined on the line by the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, and hopefully she can have some answers for us. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us, Sheila Abeye-Bachman. So you heard Dr. Justice Tankebe, but before then, I want to know what's the very latest on the two incidents that we're talking about. First, the incident where the police officer was dragged to his death, and then the other incident where we found the policeman lying on the bonnet of the taxi.
Okay, thank you, Easy. Regarding the policeman who was run over by a driver at Medina, the driver is still on the run. His pictures have been published widely, and we're still asking the public to help us to arrest him to face the law. And then when it comes to the policeman who was found on the bonnet, the driver was today put before court at Koforidua, and then he was granted bail to reappear, I think on 31st March. I'll have to find the date. He was put before court on 2 charges of the offense of dangerous driving and resisting arrest. And then his lawyer asked for bail for him, which was granted by the court in the sum of 20,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, and he's to reappear in court on 31st March. So that is the update on the 2 incidents.
All right. Now, looking at the 2 incidents, it involved police officers trying to arrest, and the people they were trying to arrest resisting arrest. What are the protocols? At what point is the policeman supposed to maybe back off and let go? And it fits into the question that Dr. Justice Tankebe was asking, which is it the case that the institutional support is not available for the driver to use, or the policeman to use other means to arrest the driver, and for which reason these policemen are happening to endanger their lives?
Easy, let me say that compared to other jurisdictions, we may not have several avenues. For instance, we do not have enough structures to be able to locate people easily with an easy address system. It appears that people can easily change their identification in this part of the world. And so sometimes when you let a person go hoping that he can be arrested at another point, it becomes difficult. However, we continue to tell our police officers not to endanger themselves in the arrest of other people, because like I said earlier, if you're not alive, how do you ensure safety? How do you enforce the law as we are mandated to do? So there are other procedures, but the structures available do not really encourage police leaving perpetrators off the hook so easily. These incidences are incidents of traffic offenses, and one would think that a driver would easily stop to speak to a police officer when requested to do so. It is unwarranted for a driver to decide not to stop when asked by a police officer to do so, because sometimes it could be for your own safety and also the safety of other road users. So regardless of whether the police officers did follow procedure or not, there is no justification for trying to put a police officer in harm's way.
By making reference to police officers not following procedure, is it to just confirm that in some instances the police officers go a bit too far, and we've heard instances where they actually engage in scuffles with these drivers?
We cannot say so in these two instances, but we are a human institution, so there could be instances where police officers may not have followed procedure, but that still does not warrant putting the police officer in harm's way.
All right. Thank you very much, Sheila Abeye-Bachman. She's the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service. And I still have with me on the line via Skype, Dr. Justice Tenkebe. So you heard the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, and she somehow admits that the institutional support may not be there, or there may not be so many other means of getting people, for instance, because of the problematic address system. How else would you advise the police go about it, considering the challenges that they have?
It's really difficult to try to advise police on tactical matters. They are better able to, I think, look at their strategies, look at their tactics, and to see whether they are working or not, and whether there are different ways of trying to achieve certain objectives. But I think the point has to be made that over the last 20, 25 years, or in fact since independence, we haven't really taken our police service seriously. We need to invest in the kind of institutional reforms that are required to allow the police officers who are endangering their lives every day to protect us to be safe, okay? So that, yes, we know work is dangerous, but at least some of those instances where we can avoid needless loss of lives, that can be done. And I think that support is required. Without that support, without a broader strategy to try to think about what the underlying triggers might be and how we train officers to deal with situations differently, I'm afraid we will continue to have some of these activities, which is deeply unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Justice Tenkebe, for making time to speak with us all the way from Cambridge University. And Dr. Justice Tenkebe is a criminologist at Cambridge University. You're watching Joy News Prime. All right, it's time for business. And Sandra Afeno has joined me, but a number of the issues we're going to be talking about, first of all, has to do with the aggrieved customers of the fund management firms, you know, the microfinance companies that had collapsed, and the other institutions, well, they're getting paid. And so the fund management companies, the customers of fund management companies have also been asking, when are we also going to get paid? And it appears it's going to take a while. So
the response is not good at all. I'm not sure they're going to like it, because the receiver, which is the Registrar General, is not ready yet to start payment. And we'll be hearing from the Registrar General in business.
Okay, you take it away.
Celebrating 25 years of joy. My name is Sandra Esinamap, and I'm here for business. In our first story tonight, aggrieved customers of 53 collapsed fund management companies have petitioned government to treat all victims of the banking sector cleanup equally by paying locked-up funds. They are questioning government silence over their fate after committing to pay customers of the fund savings and loans and microfinance institutions, including DKM Financial Services, which collapsed in 2015. Customers of gold dealership firm Men's Gold have also expressed dissatisfaction at government's failure to address their concerns. The coalition of aggrieved customers of collapsed fund management firms has been speaking to Press Appear in this report.
So for some time now, the Kumasi Cultural Center has become a haven for these aggrieved customers of the defunct Gold Coast Fund Management. Their reason is that they feel neglected and forgotten by the state, especially after President Akufo-Addo announced some 5 billion Ghana cedis to be paid to the customers of savings and loans and finance houses and even DKM.
The purpose is to petition His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to commit to a full payment arrangement for the over 100,000 customers of the 53 collapsed fund management companies whose licenses were revoked, just as he has done for those in the microfinance and savings and loans sector, including DKM. We find it difficult as fund management customers to comprehend why customers should be sidelined by the president when he commits to 100% payment to depositors fund affected under the financial sector cleanup, despite the fact that fund management companies are equally regulated. This attempt to sideline those of us in the fund management sector defy logic, and therefore it is incomprehensible why our taxed money should be applied in such a discriminatory manner.
They are now threatening to hit the street again to drum home their demands, especially if government do not pay heed to their call.
We are over 100,000 customers, of which over 60% of us are pensioners who have labored all their life to serve this great nation of ours. It is therefore surprising how the president would decide to sideline such a vulnerable group in the society during his SONA. We are therefore making a passionate appeal to the president through this medium as a matter of urgency, reconsider his position with regard to those of us in the fund management sector. Then he should put in measures to fix this situation before March 24th, 2020, which day we would be holding a mammoth demonstration on the streets of Kumasi against this government.
My name is Prince Apia reporting from Kumasi.
So that is the position of some aggrieved customers, but looks like their demands will not be met anytime soon. According to the Registrar General, who is a receiver for the fund management firms, post-banking sector litigations is impeding payment process. Registrar General Jemima Oware told Northern Akwa Hayford her outfit can only proceed with payment after court clearance.
For the fund management companies, you know that the Securities Exchange Commission's Act cannot appoint me as a liquidator straight away as the Bank of Ghana Act did. So I'm now having to petition the High Court to be given an order to liquidate them. That is what has taken time. If those orders had been given, I'm sure it would be easier for government to pay them as well. But as long as I haven't gotten the order to liquidate them, who is going to pay them? I have to pay them. So I'd advise that they do not put too much of be litigious in the courts, because at the end of the day, your license has been withdrawn. You can't continue as a fund manager. You have your investors crying out there for their funds. And so if even we pay it up front, I will liquidate the assets and pay the rest of the money back to government. So government is just doing us a favor. It's not free money. No, we'll have to pay back. With DKM, every asset I've liquidated, I'll give the money back to government. So if they allow the process to quickly go through and we get the order, to be easier for everybody. Because now I can see the fund management, they are so sad because they are not getting anything.
Now let's take a look at some facts about the fund management industry, and there we go on the screens now. We have the fund management industry, and 53 firms had their licenses revoked in 2019, 82 firms operating now currently, and then the total number of fund managers decreased by 9.09% from 154 in 2017 to 140 at the end of 2018. And then when you move on, and number of fund managers in 2017, we had 154. In 2018, 140. And then 2020, currently, we have 82 fund managers. And then the total asset / funds under management decreased by 17.68% at the end of 2018 from 31.06 billion Ghana cedis in 2017 to 25.57 billion Ghana cedis, compared to an increase of 54.09% at the end of 2017. And then just to remind you that you expect a potential drop in assets under the management, that is the AUM, as the number of firms have exited the industry. So there you go with the fact about the fund management industry.
The administrator of the Ghana Education Trust Fund is questioning some of the facts put out by the Auditor General in a recent performance audit of beneficiaries of the scheme. The report by the Audit Service found discrepancies in the award of scholarships by GetFund, including instances where several of the beneficiaries did not qualify. In an interview on our sister station Asempa FM, GetFund Administrator Richard Bodu questioned the list of beneficiaries, insisting it did not come from the fund. He explains the Auditor General only requested for a bunch of documents with the names of prospective applicants, shortlisted applicants, plus a list of approved or awarded scholarships.
That word Auditor General Ekai Okase information and I say the list was generated by GetFund.
Yeah, I think the list was generated by GetFund, yeah, in his own words.
In his own words. Okase the list was generated by GetFund.
Tell us, the
list na Kasana or the buy of the 88. Me want to say Niema bi itosi enkai ewo list of 80 no. Yama ne list biya. It was a file of documents. Incorporating people that have been shortlisted, people that have applied. Any financial files, and a file, files, different various of files.
Okay.
Any demand say on working on it, and based on that, he created that list.
Okay.
A total huge numbers of scholarship application. And on no pay 88. That is what they requested. Into the whole document now. Into a be shortlisted. Some will be classified as shortlisted. Some will be classified as awarded. Some will be classified as approved. Awarded is a yatro letter. Offer letter. And say jinako. Approval no. When I committee ni di amami na me ma approve na ma forward it to me deputy no the scholarship section no one about award letter the the 88 no we find out that 12 there is no financial obligation towards them.
12 in the 88.
Omanko school.
But it was part of the list. Auditor General.
Part of the list. The list.
Yeah, it was part of
the files, the documents.
Because they had applied.
But Sankomi due diligence. Komba said there was no financial implication. Yen committee financially to them.
He also revealed that the fund has yet to receive a copy of the audit report, even though it commissioned it and expended 350,000 Ghana cedis on it.
Service sika on the bay audit no. Finance for in releases sika ne ema. But that ade no so hia yen. Nti omuchroba say ye ma omusika.
Okay.
No mo fan konkoye audit no. Me ko mi minister ho. Me kai no say asem no waba be chensa ade no hia. Nti ade nti na wo twintwen so yenko ne yenko kotua ema wo say no mbetimi aye adwuma no eni yetua sika Edemao.
Into GetFund and Casa a finance audit now.
Sa pepe. Yetua 350,000 for
350,000 cities.
Cities, Ghana cities for auditing, you know. Auditing, you know. It included 3 universities, you know.
Okay.
Any scholarship
on a simple
any other infrastructure auditing.
Okay. Ain't so far report now about Tobiano. The aspect on the scholarship.
The scholarship. Me patcho besine the 3 universities, you know, any others in there. 3 years are you know. Yensanka bibia.
Yensanka report.
Yensanka report ni bia.
Munim so ma wie and a report among farmer man as a munim the akosi.
Scholarship no and umudi kan e buy. But till date yente eno ho asembia.
The other ones na kan monte.
Yente mo hwe.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has advised traditional leaders and religious bodies to avoid frequent handshakes in the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak. He said Ghana can't be oblivious to the reality, hence have to put up several educational materials to prevent infections. Maxwell Kudoko has more.
And this infection is largely spread through contact. And so many countries are taking measures. In Ghana, we cannot be oblivious. So far, government is taking measures, and the Ministry of Health has announced various measures that have been put in place to try to deal with this, should we have to deal with it in Ghana. I think we need to really up our game across the length and breadth of this country. But we will require a lot of changes in the way we do things in Ghana and across Africa. And so we have to be very, very careful. Nananom and our traditional leaders, we will have to maybe start thinking of even how frequently we shake hands with each other across the country. Because it is a risk that we have to be conscious of. It is difficult to change that attitude, but I think that we all have to put our heads together and start thinking of changing some of these things. So let us take this virus very seriously. Let us wash our hands very regularly. And when you are sneezing, please cover your mouth and your nose and everything, because you could transmit it in that manner.
All right, so that report by Maxwell Kudoko will be in subsequent bulletins, but it's important that we heard the Vice President talk about the fact that we have to reconsider the handshakes, which we do quite frequently here in Ghana.
Now, 8 months after the Nigerian-Benin border closure, the Trade and Industry Ministry has advised Ghanaian exporters with consignments stranded to return home. The Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Carlos Ahenkra, tells Joyce Business the federal state of Nigeria has shown no resolve to reopen the border. He was speaking on the sideline of an ongoing agricultural leadership conference at Peduasi in the eastern region.
All Ghanaian exporters with registered trucks stranded at the closed Nigerian-Benin border are to return home. Deputy Trade Minister Carlos Ahenkra disclosed to Joy Business that the federal state of Nigeria is not ready to reopen the border.
The president of Ghana wants all Ghanaian registered trucks that are seated at the border to come back home. Indeed, he has asked us to go to the border on a couple of occasions. I've been there myself to assess the situation.
Meanwhile, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin, says the said trucks do not belong to Ghanaian traders. According to him, the closure of the border will rather disrupt trade activity in Nigeria.
But no a businessman worth his salt will leave goods out there. The reason is that the goods do not even belong to them any longer. It has been purchased by Nigerians.
The closure of the Nigerian-Benin border has entered its 8th month, with Ghanaian exporters lamenting the impact it has had on trading activities and profit margins. For instance, beverage firm Casapreco has revealed how the closure has resulted in about a 2 million cedi loss in profits in just about 2 months. The Nigerian government insists it will reopen the border only if Benin meets all 13 of its trade conditions.
As part of moves to penetrate Africa's markets, the government of Malta has begun bilateral relations with Ghana. At the second Ghana-Malta Business Forum in Accra, both governments have signed 5 MOUs to undertake initiatives to boost trade between the two countries. Details in the following report.
The decision to enter Ghana's aviation industry is part of Malta's efforts at opening up key sectors of its economy to the world. Per the ongoing discussions, Malta will be given the opportunity to venture into airline operations, logistics and transportation in the country's aviation space due to Ghana's strategic business climate in the sub-Saharan Africa region. According to Yofi Grant, both countries will benefit from the deal if it finally goes through.
To clearly understand what the business opportunity is, then of course what the regulatory frameworks will be, whether it's a fifth rights airspace rights or whether it's actually a flight that comes to Accra directly and then from Accra goes into the sub-region or uses Accra as a transit point. In either ways, whether we can actually have flights go to Malta as a transit point into Europe. So all that is there. But also in terms of business, the fact that Malta has opened its first sub-Saharan African embassy or high commission in Accra also tells that they are serious about opening up opportunities. So issues like visa, etc., can be issued by the Maltese embassy here.
On his part, Minister of Economy, Investment and Small Businesses of Malta, Silvio Shembri, believes that Ghana stands out among African countries, hence the decision to use Ghana in entering the African markets.
Well, again, this is another common thing we have in common. We are both regional hubs in our respective areas. Malta in North Africa and Europe, especially Southern Europe, Ghana in West Africa. Again, we both need each other. It's a win-win situation here. We can help each other. There's also complementarity at the sectoral level. In many industry sectors, we are non-competing. We actually can help each other. And there are very few countries in which we have this situation. We can help each other.
The occasion was used to sign 5 agreements between selected agencies in Ghana and Malta.
In other news tonight, despite the huge potential in agricultural sector, experts say Africa is yet to take full advantage. The development, according to the country director of Food and Agriculture Organization, Abebe Hale Gabriel, is due to challenges including poor agric financing and non-tariff barriers. In the following report, Charles Aite takes a look at how industry players are re-strategizing to reap the full benefits of the sector.
Recent trends in Africa provide significant opportunities for private sector-led growth that can stimulate investment and drive rural and agricultural transformation in African countries. Existing challenges like poor agric financing and non-tariff barriers impede the growth of the sector. Here's Country Director of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Abebe Hale Gabriel.
Private investment into the agriculture sector is very important, and so we have created this platform for the agribusiness actors to come together and consult and articulate the key messages on the basis of which they want to interact with the honorable ministers during the conference.
Deputy Trade Minister Carlos Ahinkra believes the advent of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement area will propel growth in the agric sector. Trade among African countries stand at 17% in 2017, compared with 68% in Europe and 59% in Asia. Carlos Ahinkra says agriculture will be the engine of growth for Ghana and other African countries.
As far as we are concerned as a government, we think that the AFCFTA, it's a program that is going to help the whole of Africa. And in fact, any country that had started already or is have taken the lead in trying to industrialize in regards to agro-business.
Meanwhile, partner with the East African chapter of KPMG, George Menu, has lamented the low financing for agriculture by banks, as financial institutions raise concerns over the high risk involved in lending to agri-based investments. George Menu called on government to explore ways of sharing risks.
What we need to do is to find other ways of ensuring that the funding flows. So, for example, if the banks see risk, then there are instruments you can use to de-risk those investments.
The Food and Agriculture Organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations that leads international efforts to defeat hunger. To this end, the leadership dialogue will see stakeholders come out with recommendations on sustainable agriculture investments.
In commodity news, crude oil opened trading for the week at $51.84 a barrel. Despite the commodity struggling, it made $2.17 gain on the first trading day of the week. Details in the commodity news. For business tonight, there's more news on our website, myjawline.com/business. My name is Sandra S. and I'm Stay tuned for the sports news with Gary Al Smith.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Time now for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. We begin with the news that the captain of the national boxing team, the Black Bombers, Suleiman Tete, was at his best as he punched his way to qualify for the 2020 Olympic Games to be held in Japan in July. Also, Samuel Tichi, a featherweight, booked his ticket to join his captain. Nathaniel Ato has more in this report.
The captain of the side, Suleiman Tete, who's a flyweight, put up an impressive display to see off Marquinhos Juliano Gento of Mozambique in the final of his division's competition. Also, Samuel Techi, a featherweight, got a good challenge from Isaac Masembe of Uganda, but emerged a winner after scoring 2-1 eventually. The likes of Jesse Latte and Shakur Samed were unable to book places at the Olympic Games. So as it stands, these two boxers will definitely answer the roll call in Tokyo, Japan. This is an improvement of one from what Ghana presented at the last Olympic Games. Boxing provided only one boxer for the Olympic Games in Brazil the last time. The team is currently looking forward to the next opportunity in France in May to ensure that many more boxers qualify for the Olympic Games. As it stands, Ghana's best record in terms of silverware at the Olympic Games lies with boxing, with 3 medals. More on the national amateur boxing team in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you in the studio, George.
Here. And Richard Comey is also dreaming. He's dreaming of the IBF lightweight belt. He was speaking to us this weekend as the former champion in the IBF lightweight division talked about his plans for the future.
You know, Teofimo knows, like, it was like, man, even though I didn't expect this, and a lot of people that send me messages on Twitter, on Instagram, they were like, man, don't worry, man, we see you and we know you're going to get back strong. It happens to the last of all the big champions there everywhere. I mean, Lennox Lewis had a similar experience, yeah. You know, I mean, and just recently, WADA, you know, so it's like a lot of, even I think Joshua, he got back strong and he won his third back, so, you know, it is what it is, and I'm getting back my title as well.
The Ghana Premier League, we've had some interesting matches in the match day that's just passed. Let's look at the league table to see who is where. Aduana Stars, after 12 matches, are up there with 23 points. So, not same number of points for Brekum, Chelsea, and Mediama, but goal difference separates the 3 sides. Asante Kotoko are 4th. Ashgold lost heavily at the weekend to Wafa. They are 5th, and Wafa themselves, after beating Ashgold by 6 goals, are 6th. Let's look at the top scorer charts now after we see who are in the rest of the table. Sharks, Hearts, Peckham United, Liberty, Inter Allies, 11 Wonders. King Faisal are bottom with 5 points in 12 matches. Karela have 10 in 12, and Dwarfs have 11 in 12. Adebayo, Victorian Zachary of Inter Allies has 11 goals. Yaya Mohammed has 10. Prince Opoku Ajiman scored today to take himself to 9. And Bechem United 16-year-old Kwabna Prince Edu has 8. Ibrahim Osman of King Faisal, it should be, not Kotoko, has 8. Now, what has been the impact of the so-called returnees to the Ghana Premier League? At one time, they were stars and pin-up stars at that in the Ghana Premier League. But Emmanuel Clottey and Gladson Awako, who previously were with Brecum Chelsea when they were here the last time out, are propping up Accra Great Olympics. And here's a report by Benedict Owusu.
Experience is needed in every field. The words of coach Anna Walker. And this is a fact. Here at Accra Great Olympics, they have 2 experienced players, Gladson Awako and Emmanuel Clottey, who's captain of the team. These are returnees, played in the Ghana Premier League from 2012 until they left the local scene. They are back here in Ghana and they are playing for Accra Great Olympics. We are here to find out their story, what motivated them to come back to the Premier League, and what are some of the changes they've noticed since coming back to play here in Ghana. Before the start of every training session, Coach Anna Walker speaks to Clottey, the skipper, and his friend and teammate Gladson Awako, the 2 most experienced players in the team. Emmanuel Clottey, a known potent striker whose name will not be out of a list of 10 strikers to have lighted up the local league in the last decade, a career which began at Brazil Academy and later became the top scorer of the Ghana Premier League in 2007. Clottey moved abroad and came back in 2009 to play for Olympics before joining Chelsea in 2010. He moved out again after an illustrious campaign with Chelsea in the 2012 CAF Champions League. After some seasons out, the man is back at his boyhood club.
No, I never think that before, because as a footballer, when you have that in your mind, it means you don't know what you are doing. Football, one day, you change everything. So you have to focus and play your game.
So you don't have any regrets coming back to play in the Premier League?
No, never, never.
Emmanuel Clottey is definitely enjoying the Premier League. But can the same be said of his friend Gladson Awako, who just as Clottey moved out after the 2012 Champions League heroics with Brecum Chelsea?
Compared to those days when I was here playing, compared to the players we had then and now, I can't say the quality is the same, though there is a lot of good players in here. Yeah, we have great players, good players, but the quality won't be the same. Not that I'm trying to disrespect or downplay my fellow players or not, but there's good players in there, which I think we are catching there.
Was it that difficult for you, to switch back to Ghana?
Well, myself, it wasn't difficult for me at all, because I know what I was looking for. I know why I came back to play. So it was very easy for me to make that decision to play. But with the views and the comments coming, I think I'm not doing bad. So I believe, yeah, sure, things are going the way I planned and how I want.
Gladson Awako, ending our report by Benedict Owusu. And in the sport, I'm Gary Al Smith. Thank you for your time. Israel is here to wrap up on the news.
Thank you very much, Gary. And it's time now for our latest Hotline documentary, Serving the Witches, which uncovers the lonely world of children living with women accused of being witches. It's by Justice Bedu. Stay tuned in.